Hi, I'm Mario Guerra, the two-time former mayor of the great city of Downey, and I'm here with my co-host, Eric Pierce, the editor of the Downey Patriot. And you're watching to Talking Downey with Mario.
And Eric. How are you, Mario?
Good morning. Good. How are you?
You have that intro down pretty good now.
Oh, yeah, on my third take, right?
It took about a year, but no, you're really good at it.
Yeah, I like the little...
Try doing it.
Yeah, no kidding.
How are you?
Good. Hey, how's baby stuff on there?
Baby's good. Baby's growing,
Yeah.
and she has a full head of hair.
Oh, something that Dad maybe doesn't have anymore?
She didn't get it from me, that's for sure. But no, she's doing really good, and it's just it's so much. It's hard to believe, to be honest, after this a real life baby right here. You know what's funny is, years ago I had adopted a dog from a rescue. It was a German Shepherd, and before I got the dog, the rescue organization came out, they inspected the home, and we had to do like an application, and they really made sure that the home was safe for the dog. With the baby, they just hand you the baby, and it's like, here you go.
You're like,
home.
Do they know who I am? Do they trust me with this human being?
Are you sure? Do you know what you're doing?
Dogs get better protection than babies do.
They really do.
You know, it is. It's life-changing, and it only gets better. It's got its moments on that sleep thing and cleaning and stuff like that, but it's all good, man. Good. So.
Good. Mario, we had a city council meeting this week, and Downey city council meetings seem to be pretty eventful. They're interesting, at least to people like you and me. I think other people too, because it's real life government in action. There's a couple things I want to talk about with you because we have very unique perspectives. I want to start with the Downey YMCA. The Downey YMCA approached the city of Downey, the city council, and if you don't know, they're in the middle of a huge fundraiser to build a new facility. Well, they're asking the city council for a donation, a significant donation. I heard $1 million. I don't know, but it's a significant donation. They talked about it. Mario, you're on the board of the Downey YMCA.
I am.
So I want to get your thoughts on this.
Well, the new YMCA, first of all, I love the Y. I've been on the board for many years. I've been a Y board member, a Y member since I was 8 years old, with the Indian guides and the gray Y and everything else. So the Y has been a big part of my life. I love the mission statement. I love everything it does. And I've even pledged to this. I've pledged
Your own money.
My own money, at least 5 figures to do it, because I feel the commitment not only for the community but for my family and others. So I love the why. Having said that, it's interesting. It's hard to deal that with government, and I was asked at a Y board member what I thought, and I think the city has set a precedence of giving to some groups, like the Rose Float Association. They gave $25,000, and they've given $10,000 or $15,000 here and there to worthy organizations or groups. I think $1 million, you have to go in the general reserves, and I think it's very difficult with the next current project that they have going. And then I think you also set a bigger precedence of taking favorites. We love the Y. If you're going to give money, I want it to go to the Y. But you have some other worthy causes in the city that, I don't know, it's taxpayer dollar. I think it's a whole different animal. So I'm a little nervous when you start talking about that.
Right. What was interesting is in a discussion on Tuesday, they were talking about also funding the Columbia Memorial Space Center. They're in the middle of an expansion, or they're preparing to expand. You're also on the board of the Space Center. Talk a little bit about what the Space Center wants to do and its relationship with the Y, because it sounds like almost the city council was put in a position where they had to choose between the YMCA and the Space Center.
And it's sad. They shouldn't be put in that position down there. Like I told you how much I love the Y. Guess what? I love our history, and I'm on that board because I believe in our history and what we've done at that particular site in the history of mankind. We sent people to the moon, and it started here from the city of Downey. So that is so vital, and that's the STEM and the sciences and everything else that we propose. What and we are building. We own the full scale mock-up of the inspiration of the space shuttle. So we, the city of Downey, and we own the EVO. So this building is an expansion building to go next to it, but it's not a museum. It's not going to house a building that's just going to have this inside. It's going to be classrooms for meeting space. It's going to have for large groups gathering, which we don't have anything in Downey. Even at Rio Hondo, we're capped out. So it's going to be able to facilitate that. It's going to improve the entire campus. It's what this told me when I heard Mayor Pro Tem Trujillo say, "I'd rather have the Y than this. The mock-up can wait." This isn't about the mock-up. All it told me is he's not very well educated on what the Columbia does, because it's apples and oranges, and you really can't compare the two. So the city of Downey spent $10 million building that. City of Downey for the first so many years spent $1 million a year out of general funds on there to maintain it, to build it, and so forth. Right. We had, through grants and everything else in the city pay, we had every fifth grader in LA County come through there at the Challenger Center. Well, upstairs, if you've never been there, we're recognized as one of the 23 Challenger Centers in the entire country. Right. And the Columbia is the official designee of Congress as the memorial for the Columbia disaster. Apples and oranges.
Right.
But one is owned by the city. The Columbia fundraising, that whole project, it's not just a building. It's for facilities. It's for programming on there. It's for upkeep. It's to take away from city funds, on there, and it's owned by the city. So how can you ask the city to put that aside after you've fundraised $12-13 million to give $1 million to another project worthy as it is, absolutely worthy? It's apples and oranges.
I think that's a really good point. And that's, I think, what I didn't understand, listening to the meeting. The Space Center is a public city-owned facility. Right. It's no different than the library or the senior center. It's a public facility that needs city funding. Right. It's not really negotiable, I don't think. Right. Where the YMCA, and I love the YMCA, I'm a former board member, they're a private facility, and they're doing their own fundraising, and it's where's the money supposed to come from? And I feel bad because I don't want it to seem like I don't think the YMCA is a worthy project. I absolutely do, but it's a process of going to the city that's and pitting it against the Space Center, which is a little weird to me.
And sometimes you can't get. We were back visiting Congressman Robert Garcia this week in his office in D.C. It was Notter, the chairman of of the Columbia Memorial, and also the chairman of Financial Partners, Alex Saab, former mayor.
Our sponsor of this podcast.
Sponsor of this podcast, which we forgot to mention at the very beginning on there. But he's such a community guy, and so is Financial Partners. So we were in Robert Garcia's office, Congressman Robert Garcia, with his chief of staff, and we're going through the plans for the expansion. And they really, he knew a little bit about it. He didn't know it. He didn't know all the numbers and so forth. So it was to put it on his radar so he knows. And he did say, Downey has asked for a lot of different things, Module Command Center and all these other things on there. So I think Downey also needs to prioritize. I think that's, and sometimes that's where the institutional knowledge that we're lacking right now. When we had Gilbert Levis as our city manager on there, he'd be very strategic on the long-term plans, and he'd help the council understand that. Right. The other day was, interim city manager Mark Scott's last meeting, so I completely understand that. Right. So, and we are going to have the new city manager hopefully on here sometime. But I think it's a leadership, institutional knowledge. But we have to educate them on what the Columbia does. I'm sure some of them do. Right. And I'm glad Councilman Sosa said, let's just look at the numbers. And Mayor Frometa was very clear. We don't have $500,000 or $1 million to give on there, and it comes from reserves, which we can't do. You can't do that. And I'm so sorry. I'm going to get killed by my board members there. But I was asked at a board meeting what I thought. And when I told them that I didn't think it was appropriate for the city to come in any big way, they've set a precedent. We should get some money, but it's a small amount. I was told that, how the Y does so much more for the city than the Columbia, and I wasn't going to get into an argument. It's different.
It's different. Not a competition.
No, it's not. And you have the YMCA for families and build strong families and strong bodies, and the mission statement is amazing. I love it. I feel that's important. But so is the STEM. So is with the Columbia. But the Columbia has that distinction that it's 100% owned and operated by the city of Downey. I was mayor when we dedicated it, okay, and in 2009, and it's been my passion. Yeah. So I will continue to that, and we will get this done too. But it was, I cringed when I saw some of the video on there because, and I'm going to get yelled at by the Y, but I love you. I love my YMCA, and this is, I agree with some of the board members, it is going to get built. Their passion and dedication of the Y board and the Y to build this, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be a great facility. And, you know, I think the city council kind of brought this on themselves a little bit when they started giving away money. I was not in favor of the city council giving money to the Rose Float, not because they don't deserve it. They absolutely do. I just don't think it's the role of the city council to just be making gifts of public money. Yeah. I don't think it's appropriate. But you know, when they voted to do that, other organizations took notice. Yeah. They saw, and now how do you say yes to one group and no to another? Yeah. I don't know how you do it.
You know, it's interesting is that this is where the institutional knowledge comes in too. I saw the other day, I saw on the agenda, there were several to request for the city to buy tables at all these charitable auctions, and some of them are pretty expensive tables. So in my day, we had to pay our own. You know, if I wanted to take my wife Ann, they're representing the city, I would. So you can make an argument on that, but that adds up too. You know, that is public funds to spend $2,500 a table here, $2,500 a table there. So.
And also, you know, donating the showmobile, because it's not just that's the stage where you can have like a concert on there that gets, you know, donated out, but that takes labor to set it up and take it
There's
down.
a minimum of $25,000, I think, when it's all said and done, by the beginning to the end.
I'm curious.
I remember something like that.
How does the city say yes to some requests and no to? I don't know. There must be a process, I'm assuming, or maybe there's not. I don't know.
The answer used to be no in the old days, so that was easy. I'm not saying that should be that way right now, but I don't know what the process is on there. But it is. I mean, in the city when it does well, good. That's why we kept putting money into the reserves,
right?
And that's a smart thing. And then for things like a pandemic,
right,
when your tax revenue is not going to be there, so you survive. So taking anything out of reserves should be a very, very last.
It's not your piggy bank.
No, it's not. It's not. So anyway,
interesting. Well, the city council said they're going to revisit the issue as they're preparing for their budget. My takeaway is I don't think it's going to go in favor of the YMCA. That was kind of my feeling. I don't see it happening. Yeah. But
the way I look like, you're right. I think it might be a close vote, but it can't be. Well, you can't. How are you going to take $1 million out of general funds? It's just you're opening up a can of worms on there. And to all my board members on the Y, please don't shoot me. I'm trying to be honest. I tried to tell you before, and I love it. And I did commit personal funds, and I will. And
we are excited to see it.
Oh
built.
My God, it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be. We've seen the renderings, and it's going to be really
something the city needed. I mean, it's been closed for 2 years, and it's just literally down the street. And trust me, I drive by it every morning, and to see it chained up and it's just so sad. There's so many great memories and great things that have happened there, but it will happen again. It is going to get built. It is going to get built.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Marlo, something else I wanted to talk to you about. This has been in the news. Trader Joe's. It seems like they're always in the news. Recently, Mayor Pro Tem Trujillo created this public outreach campaign to kind of maybe put a little bit of pressure on Trader Joe's, let them know how much the Downey community wants them to open. Yeah. So there was an update at the city council meeting on Tuesday. There was a report. According to the report, the city has been in contact with Trader Joe's. Supposedly, Trader Joe's is interested in opening in Downey, but only on Firestone Boulevard and on a property site that is suitable for them. I have my opinions. I want to get yours first.
Well, I think we've been going down this road with them since, when I was mayor twice, and we did have discussions. We weren't on their 5-year plan, et cetera, and they gave us all these different reasons. And every 2 years we approached them. And everybody, we want Trader Joe's, we want Trader Joe's. So we go back, and we go back, and we tried. And trust me, we can be convincing, and we tried. And then we tried and tried. So I'm glad for the effort. We should never give up on trying. But I don't know. They could have come here at any time. And I looked at their website the other day, and now they're opening up all over the country, and they're doing all these other things. So, it's one of those type of things.
I agree with you, Mario. And I think, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I feel that if Trader Joe's wanted to open in Downey, they would have already. And, you were talking earlier about institutional knowledge. This is not a new conversation. The city's been talking to Trader Joe's going back 10, 15 years, So we know that they wanted supposedly a location on Firestone, and there's been opportunities. There's a location right next to Chipotle. It used to be the shoe store that I think would be a great location. There's, Paramount Florence. There's other locations on Firestone. So to me, they're just excuses. I don't think Trader Joe's is interested in Downey, and I think we have to take the hint.
Yeah, it's been a long process, and they've opened up in some areas that you wouldn't think that really, and you wouldn't open in Downey. So I don't know what I don't know. They're welcome to come. Hopefully they come. Yeah. If they do, kudos to our city. But yeah,
we'll see. I'm not optimistic that it's going to be happening.
Yeah, I saw something on the Downey memes. Downey's got all these kids on the Downey memes. What was it? I'd rather be slap me 10 times every time you hear about Trader Joe's, but 20 times. If somebody could punch me 10 times for me never to hear about Trader Joe's in Downey, I would ask them to punch me 20 times in case reincarnation is real. It was kind of funny. I saw it being shared, but I think people are just kind of tired of hearing about Trader Joe's, and it's but you also and good for them that you have new council and new council members and stuff like that. So everybody has to give it their shot, and I understand that. You've got to make and so forth. Listen, institutional knowledge, and that's why sometimes they don't know. But I'm glad I heard Councilman Sosa ask for a discussion on a community garden, which is great. I love that on there. I promoted it twice to do that, and staff came back. We were looking at one spot right next to Rio Hondo on the riverbed and so forth. And then all of a sudden, some of the rules and regulations on there started to come up, and it became there was a lot of pushback and so forth. So we just kind of dropped the idea, but we actually went a year in planning on it. So I there's nobody at the city to tell them that.
Right.
But in times are different, so you should go forward and you should explore all those things.
Yeah.
But that's the institutional knowledge on there. Yeah. But community gardens are great, and they were being done all over the place at that time, and that's one of the reasons I brought it up. But maybe it'll work out this time. I'd love to see that.
Well,
our schools are both our high schools have it, and they produce food, the real food.
I think they even have animals on Downey High School. They have animals on there.
Yeah. It's a real. I'll tell you, Eric, I don't want to change subject, but we had Downey Army Days, and we can talk at a different show. But at Downey High School on Tuesday and at Warren High on Wednesday, and it was amazing, the interest on that. Both schools, and we'll make a big announcement later, we're getting a JROTC, okay? JROTC is a leadership program. It's not a recruiting program.
So that wasn't already on campus on
No,
Downey
it's going to be starting this fall. But both schools, Downey and Warren, are going to be getting that. That's unheard of. It's unheard of. Downey is like the 9th largest high school in the country, and Warren is not that far behind them in population too. But they're two of the best schools. And when I was there with the open house with the parents, and I spoke to, the whole stands was packed a little bit about that. And I told them, I go, look, number one is I'm your neighbor. I'm your former mayor, but I'm your neighbor. And, of course, now civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army. But I could tell you this JROTC, it's also for STEAM. It's also for leadership. It's for character and leadership. It's for all these different things. It's not a recruiting tool at all. I would have my grandson that's here in public schools in Downey. Can't wait for he gets to high school to have this. So anyways, but it was so well received at both schools. And Eric, people don't realize, if you're not going to their school system, what the quality of the different career opportunities that Downey and Warren have, okay, and all the magnet programs and everything. It's amazing.
It's not how it used to be 10, 15, 20 years ago.
It's a great thing on there. So people, Downey Unified rocks, okay? Tom Houch, the principal of Downey High rocks. Dr. Kerry White at Warren rocks. And their people are amazing. So they're starting to partner because they've seen the Army has 150 different careers. I get to give out Minuteman scholarships, and I just can't wait. So anyways, next week, this will be on before that, but General Brito, our 4-star general from TRADOC, is coming, and they're going to do a little honoring of Downey Unified for some of the things that they've been doing on Tuesday. So that's going to be very nice. But anyway, so people don't realize this stuff on there, and Eric, Wednesday, I was in D.C. I've been in D.C. for a week, okay? And so I fly home. I get home around 3 o'clock. I'm exhausted because I had to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to catch a flight. Come home, take a shower, put on a new shirt, okay? Put on a tie. And then I went to Warren High School, spoke to all the parents from 5 to 6. Then I went to that planning commission meeting at 6:30. Eric, it didn't end till 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I was I'm still like a jet lag, even though there's no jet lag from D.C. I'm just tired. But it's so worth it, and I love our community. It's so good to be back here. And then I watched the council meeting, did my homework.
Yeah, you do research for these podcasts.
Of course,
you really do.
Of course. I can't be there. I couldn't be there Tuesday night. I was in D.C. But yeah, you want to watch it.
I would like to see is the Planning Commission meeting streamed on YouTube.
I thought they are.
Oh, I mean, maybe they are.
I don't know that.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, you should watch Wednesday night's one. That was an interesting one.
I enjoy Planning Commission meetings because they're interesting. You get to see sometimes what new developments are coming into Downey, or maybe not coming into Downey, but they're actually very interesting.
Well, good. So our next show, we'll do one. Our next show, we'll talk about the Chick-fil-A coming in the Frantone in the process. That was a public hearing. It was probably an hour and a half to 2 hours. It was kind of interesting. We had a new building going up on Lorena between 2 apartment buildings, and then also the expansion. There's a mosque. There's a mosque in South Downey. We have 2 mosques in the city. I didn't know that. And this one was started in 2007, and they're expanding. They kept buying the lots, and they're making it bigger in an area that's very appropriate. And we can talk about it, but that was the Planning Commission. So we'll do that on our next show, just to fill people in and so forth.
We have a lot to talk about.
Okay.
Mario, before we go, I did want to mention the passing of Bishop O'Connell. I didn't know him personally, but I know a lot of people who were greatly affected by his passing. I know that you knew him. He was formerly at St. Raymond's Church here in Downey. Before that, he was at St. Hilary, Pico Rivera. He was a very local person. He sounded like a great guy, judging from what everybody has said publicly and to me personally. You knew him.
I knew him well.
What kind of person was he?
Well, I used to go to the orphanage in Tijuana with him, and Casa Hogar de los Niños, and he always had he Irishman with a heavy brogue and great stories and Irish jokes and stuff like that. But he had a passion for those less fortunate and was not afraid to get his hands dirty. I mean, so he also, after St. Raymond, he became a pastor of St. Francis Cabrini and then another inner city church, and he was pastor for both. And literally he would go in there. I mean, there's, the violence and the gangs and the homelessness and all the inner city issues. And he was there. He was this, very pale white Irishman. He was not afraid. And he built those relations with those communities and also the pastors in those other communities. He was just a great man. And he did it hands-on. He was, somebody that you can trust and respect. I did a mass with him last month. He came at my new parish where I'm at St. Philip's, the Apostle, and I was the deacon in the back. I took a picture, and thank you. You post that picture. You put it on the Patriot on there from that. Just a great man. That's a truly terrible loss. He was only 69. And 69, I mean, he was in the prime that he was as a bishop. He'd only been a bishop for 6 or 7 years. But he impacted people, and he had the street cred to of what when he was talking about leading others to God, but serving others as God would want to. He had the street cred because he had done it. Just an amazing man.
I remember seeing him outside City Hall in Downey when the city was dedicating the John Gately Downey bust. He was there.
Yes.
I'm assuming because of his Irish background.
That was it. Yeah. I mean, and there was only, 25 people there and stuff like that. I remember it was a cold night right before a council meeting on there. And that was and it just came up, it popped up on my Facebook yesterday, the sign of twinning sister cities with Roscommon, that there's only 2 busts in all of in the entire world that's made this way by the same artist. One is outside Togmacano, Roscommon, Ireland, the birthplace John Gay Downey, and outside City Hall. And we actually contacted that same artist in Ireland to do that bust, and it's out there. And he came on there. Then he was just Father O'Connell, and he came because of the Irish connection. And he wasn't even here; he was already in L.A. So the dedication for him to come, and I even said that, Father Dave, what are you doing here? He goes, Irishman, and they told a joke like he did. He will be missed. It's a great pain, especially, how he died is, oh my gosh. But he didn't need to die, and he had so much more to give. But in 45 years as a priest, we were blessed to have him. I do consider him a friend. A lot of people consider him a friend. But, I moved into his region, and, the San Gabriel region, so he at my new parish, and he said to me in the back, he says, he goes, you're here. He goes, you're going to have to listen to my Irish jokes again, And I said, I always enjoy him, Bishop. So
he's leaving a legacy for sure. I think it might be appropriate to, if we ended this podcast in his memory. And where the community is going to miss him. But he definitely left a legacy.
Yeah, Bishop Dave, God bless you, sir. And thank you for everything you've done and for everybody you've touched. So.
Good show, Mario.
Thank you, sir. All right. Folks, on there, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Our next show, we gave you a little bit of preview on it. We are going to have the city manager on board here.
At some point.
As a guest here. And
well, we haven't asked him yet.
No, we haven't asked him yet.
We assume he'll say yes.
We assume
we
so.
Hope.
We hope, we also want to have other guests. Let us know. You guys shared some of the things on the YouTube, what you wanted to hear and what you want to see. Keep doing that. Brandon is doing a great job as our executive producer, along with Hans. We're doing a little kind of more shorts, getting the message out. But we're now over a year, and I'm enjoying this. Short shorts, yeah.
We're doing short shorts.
We're doing short shorts. I don't know what that means, but yeah. But people are commenting. We got, we've had over 20,000 viewers and listeners on there. So anyways, I think that we appreciate it. We're sponsored by Financial Partners Credit Union. We hope that you'll remember that too. And thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.
Our next episode, we're going to be talking about Chick-fil-A, Frantone's, Chris's Burgers, how that whole development is happening, and what's next for that property.
Great. Yeah. Right. So thank you for listening, for watching Talking Downey with Mario
and Eric.